Paladins esports is alive. Just kidding, but there was a community tournament a while ago that I think was really interesting. So I want to break it down and talk about main tanks, because I went into these games with an idea about the meta and was proven so wrong that I took down my Season 5 tier list video because I didn't want to spread misinformation. The first series was against Stremix, a good controller team who's been together for a while. My team, by comparison, consisted of Nautilama on main tank, cool guy, but has spent more time organizing tournaments than playing in them. Mist on off tank, he plays Yag and he's also in plat. Kana on hit scan, his one trick got nerfed and now he spends more time performing illegal activities with the game than playing it. Nick on other hit scan, some console European, never heard of this guy before the tournament, but he's cool and he's pretty good on consoles. And me on support, pretty okay at the game, even better at scamming people into thinking I'm good and giving me checkmarks and titles. We also have 3 NA players and 2 EU players, so servers are going to be an issue. So going into this series we have 5 clowns versus 5 sweaty console players, but this series was actually really close. After waiting 1.5 hours despite our NA players having to wake up at around 6 in the morning for this thing because somehow we got top seeded and so we got a bye first round, and after watching our opponents play in the previous round and feeling pretty good about ourselves. Alright, so we've got some dog shit comps here. Triple backline on both sides. Red team is gonna hard stack and give both the high ground and the objective. Blue team is only gonna give the high ground. Neither team is taking advantage of this. It's a big wall, but no one is walking forward because they're all pussies. Vivian is gonna get a pick because just a reminder that this is in fact a 4v5 up front. So we're gonna get one last fight at last choke. You might want to see something like a Shaw ult to push out a side, but they have once again gotten picked in front of their own spawn, in front of the invincible spawn doors. So they might have to take this 4v5. They used Atlas. They used Atlas wall super early. It got no value. The Barrack is in their spawn. The cart is about to roll in. Setback misses. No one is doing anything. This Atlas is getting angled. Drogo's gonna trade. Barrack is somehow getting the worst end of this, but the ults from blue team aren't good. Atlas has used both of his CDs. They're gonna use Grok ult after seeing that. Big wall does come up. I don't know if it matters. He's gonna die anyways. And blue team is gonna roll in the cart because red team is dog shit. Alright, the adaptation that you want to see for the next mid fight from next team is that you want them to pause the game for an hour. They want to go watch Paladins University by Coach Makkers and understand space and resources. Alright, once again it's the same roll, but this time they've realized that they should in fact walk forward. They're gonna pop big wall, immediately walk past it, and they are gonna in fact get a pick. Now blue team has for some reason decided to use the Drogo ult into Atlas ult combo. But blue team has somehow decided to take an even more shit spot, but they're winning their fight somehow. This is turning into a 3v3. Dome Shield might actually be kind of big here, but the Leon is doing work. Eventually gets traded down to a 2v2. The Grok is gonna respawn. Red team does have cap time. Game's over?
Game's over.
Oh. We finally go into draft as first pick. We ban Double Sport because nope. They ban Ruckus and Makoa because they don't know that Mist can't play 2 of the top 3 off tanks right now. And we end draft with literally everything that we want. This is essentially triple DPS, except mid-fight, Yag is going to show up, take a lot of resources, and die, which let our core pocketed DPS kill everything, while Barrack just vibes. Their comp is bad. There's no rhyme or reason to it. They always play triple DPS because they don't have an off-tank player. They took a solo main tank, and we will talk about the title of this video, but that doesn't come quite into play just yet. They took a good support, they took a good DPS with good matchups, they took a console DPS, and they took double sport without actually understanding how double sport works. First mid we lose because Mist feeds, and then we stagger. I engage in some mild shit talk because they never actually push anything on the offense. We'll just burn the Nando if he walks down mid, like it's fine, just control sidelines here. Go Nando, go Nando, go Nando! He dashed in, he's fucking dumb. Fucking dog shit player. Go Lex mid, Lex mid, Lex mid, Lex mid! Lex mid dies. Yep, we're pulling for that. Grover Vine in, Grover Vine in, Grover mid, Grover. Another dog shit player. Good stuff. So we win because we have tanks in the off lanes that they don't try and get by. Second mid, I tell Nada to dome so I can TP in because I'm stupid and he graciously enables my bad support play addiction. Mist doesn't ult for some reason, feed once again. The Shaw gets a good off tangle because he's good and knows that 5 stacking is bad. This push realistically should have worked, but we fed and only had 2 angles. If one of our DPS was hanging around center at the start, this would have worked out a lot better, and we probably win, but we don't. Then we don't decide where to set up on defense, and we get caught out, so now we're defending in our own spawn, and a bit staggered. Mist has to die on point, they commit ults, we go down 3-1. At this point, we have the bright idea that, hold up, we have items now, their comp is bad, and we decide to simply capture the objective as they do nothing. Mist continues to try and solve world hunger, but our controller DPS kills their controller DPS, so we're even. Shaw walks into 3 people into reveal and dies. They C9, and our defense on the first round letting us get to this third round with items up is really pulling weight. I demonstrate some nice character growth as they don't TP into their Grover with 1200 HP. On the push, both teams play like garbage, but we used ults so we win the garbage fest. Pushing the spawn, we're set up pretty well, our Tyra has a great angle to burn everything, then our Yag gets vine crashed and we lose. Next mid, we decide once again to simply capture the objective. Mist kind of feeds and our DPS aren't ready to follow up, but we get cap time and our backline clutches up and wins their fights. I also want to point out this nasty body block that I had to save our Tyra.
Back in the sun. Back in the sun.
Got pick.
Nice.
Retreat with us. Nice.
Oh.
Bombing it. Marked.
Left. He's pushing left.
Just play point.
Nano dies. Lex dies.
Ender dies. Lex dies.
Can we go backline? Can we go?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Connor. Go.
Oh, 1-1. Both one.
Nice.
On the push, they decide to not contest us until we get within one fight of winning the game. In that last fight, with the power of communication, despite starting down one, we get a whole bunch of picks. Mist finally doesn't feed, and hits a huge ult on the Nando that lets us kill the Grover that has to touch point. We force out like 6 ults from them, but since their ults are bad because their draft is bad, we survive just fine, and ulting second gets us the win.
Yeah, just ult point. Just hard burn point. Burn the fucking Nando. Lex is running. Shaw's running it down mid. I don't care. Lex, burn Nando.
Lex on healer.
Oh, fuck.
Nice,
Lex. Grover.
Let's fucking
Nice.
go, boys.
Let's fucking go, boys.
Next game, we're second pick, and we feel like we have to ban Andrew at 7. They get double support, a better controller DPS, and server choice. So we lose. Go next. We get a first pick Andrew next game, which is really cool. They take the better main tank and support, but we are fine with this trade. We end the draft setting up for a free Victor. You might be wondering how this Victor is free. Well, we have our Yag to match their Khan, a better backline matchup, a Furia pocket, Andrew can match the Vatu, and we skill better, so the Victor is basically immortal. And he's console. We start the game off with mist feeding and ping problems. We trade but end up catching their overextensions because console Victor good, but we scuff zone. Literally listen to what I say.
The only thing we have to worry about is the Vatu coming over top right, okay? So just keep an eye on the Vatu.
I know that the Vatu can come over and get touch, and we just set up our backline high ground and kill whatever touches with free console Victor, but instead we tried to deny touch, which just doesn't work out. The fight is still winnable somehow, but we split our focus too hard, and core of pockets and split fights show their worth.
We need touch soon eventually. Do we have that?
Wait.
I have.
I need.
Yeah. Nando. Still Nando.
I'm dead.
We got it too. Yes, do you have knives?
Second one. Yeah.
Defense is pretty uneventful because they don't push anything ever, and Immortal Console Victor kills things while Nada AFKs in a cheesy contest spot. Next mid, our comp works basically flawlessly. They int us, we pop Furia ult, Bay Eric forces point as long as he can, we all peel, everyone lives, it's great.
I'm peeling for Vic. They're all back here. We need help now. We need help.
Thought he's in there.
Khan is still inting for me on high. I need help. Oh, you're the fucking goat, Mist. Good shit.
But on retake, we just feed. Mist runs in and dies, then our free Immortal Console Victor decides he wants to be a contested dead Console Victor, but it's okay because Andrew was good.
Yes, he does.
Grover's on point.
Good shit.
Dagger down.
Nando, I'm breaking shield.
Nando just dies. He dies.
Nando dies. I'm close ult. Nando one. Nice. I have ult muted. Khan.
Con next.
We won the point.
I'm getting Corvus.
Con.
Just Khan. Everyone Khan.
We're dead. That's huge.
That's fine. That's dog shit ult.
On the push is a pretty what the fuck are you doing, Nando? Anyways, there's a pretty big miscommunication as our tanks push while our backline peels, so that fight's gone. We end up winning next fight by using our eyeballs and our brains, as our Yag and Andrew get free flanks because they weren't contesting that side of the map. Mist tries to start off the final push by feeding, but I don't want him to. He still loses us the fight though, because they just walk at us with a 5v4 while he heals out of combat. Next mid, our tanks decide to position badly and give every possible angle to the enemy team, but our backline still clutches up. 3 console Victor is good. A miscommunication between our Andrew and Barrick means that we start the retake down one. Mist feeds, Andrew gets a bit too greedy, but despite this still being winnable, Con ult continues to be a free kill. But despite all this, it's still winnable because we got a better draft and we're somehow better players. But I missed 2 shots on a dashing Vatu. If I hit either of them, it kills him. I checked in replay. He dies, I live, I keep Nada alive, Victor respawns, we probably win this game. And it's stupid, but this is part of the reason that I love Paladins. Unless there's a massive skill gap between the two teams, when you're playing the good supports, there's always something you can do individually to win in a competitive environment, especially as a shot caller. But I missed, so we lose. The defense starts messy. I see their Corvus commit the cardinal sin of looking at me wrong, so I dash into their backline and kill him, then I use Furia ult and die. Started fine, ended pretty bad. We waste a bunch of time and end in the same spawn hold with the series on the line and an invincible console victor. And once again, Connaught is a free kill. Now listen to what I say here as soon as this happens.
Okay, we're gonna need to spend ults. We're gonna need to spend ults. We can look for Andy.
We need to spend ults because we need to compensate for being down a player. Fury ult is pretty good. If I don't feed with that Fury ult earlier, then we probably just win this defense by spending Fury ult. But instead, our Andrew and Yag ults don't find anything, and we lose the series 2-1. Now let's talk about main tanks. Both teams in this series played main tanks pretty standard. Main tanks have two options, point or offlane. If they go point, they do one of two things. One, pressure the objective, and two, collapse on pushes. If they go offlane, then they're just looking to fight stuff. And that's what both teams did this series, very traditional main tank gameplay. Next series, we played against a team of 5 console victors who we were frankly just better than. There's nothing valuable to go over this series other than we got controller Sky and to pluck Makoa on one map.
Go! Nada.
Oh, one got one.
Nice.
See?
There's a Lux.
That's what I mean.
There's a Lux. Okay, Nada go point. Everyone else keep walking.
We also got to see what coordination can do.
Let's go now. Let's
Go.
Lex.
I can go.
He's one.
We ready? I'm all going in 3, 2, 1. Nice. No more.
And I had a cool beam that hits 4, and it only takes us 6 seconds to kill all 5 on the next map.
Walk him down.
See?
Cool. Next series, we end up playing against Toa, Bonscott, and some pretty good Europeans. And here's where our wrong read on the meta becomes really obvious. They ban Nando and bait us into first picking Barrack, but draft main tank wrong and dive. Here's where not having a comp scene really hurts the game. Draft on the left is a rank draft on the right is a comp draft. The understanding of how the game currently works is missing from all but a handful of players. First mid, they stack Jag, which is cool. We just get to kite while our Barrack forces point for free. Like, Barrack is just sitting on the objective, doing nothing, not getting shot, not shooting. Miss dashes into 5 people and dies. Nada stays way too long in a 1v4, but our backline trades the Vatu. And their next dive is not great. Their tanks both do the same thing Nada just did, and they never set up a flank from anything.
I'm dead.
How do I fucking what? Okay. I don't.
Rex.
Next fight, our 7 isn't set up yet while we're too far up. They execute a good dive and a nice cripple and Nada gets the kill there. It might still be winnable, but we stack into Rom and Vatu ults.
Carol.
Oh, yeah. I went in.
After a bit of trolling in our own spawn and the third Vine crash in 6 games, we get underway. They execute a dive and kill middle. Killing middle means diving backline, forcing them out, then killing tanks. They do this very well. The fight devolves, but we're down too many.
If you count out, there's a... I have to leave. Someone touch.
We don't on it, bro. That's...
Next mid, they spend a lot of resources on Nada and get the kill there. And Mist literally saves the ruckus.
Burn.
Kill him. Whoa, bro, what are you doing?
But we win the fight eventually because they way overextend, and our Corvus and 7 ults put in some work while they get no value out of their Cassie pick or their Vatu ult. Retake is a different story. We were just too far up. Our comp is basically built around kiting and taking the fight after they push because they win the initial fight by just running at us, and we just let them run at us by playing 2 together and too far up. We stagger defense, split focus, and they kill our Barrack before we kill their ruckus. Next mid, Nada gets picked early, and I know Nada will complain about getting immediately ulted and focused 2 mids in a row, but like Riesel 1 master riding 2 on a point instead of a side angle when no one else has master riding, mounting into a space you can't retreat from. You could have lived both times, just wanted to get that out there. And then we stagger. The ROM should have staggered me harder, and we should just outright lose, but we don't go for touch early enough. Anyways, it's a winnable fight, but we just don't get touch. Next game, we think the servers are in Europe, but they're in North America, and since we picked BK for our EU DPS, we kind of just lose. We're a little tilted at this point. It's over. GG's. We're done. So, 2 close series, one that wasn't close, but overall some interesting things. So why do I think the main tank role is dead? Well, it still exists, right? You still have a main tank player on your team. But the traditional way you think about main tanks is dead. It's gone. Traditional main tanks force the objective. They do this by being super bulky, and they do it so that the other team has to touch the objective, and then the main tank's team kills the toucher and wins because they're getting kills. 2 issues with this. Main tanks just aren't super bulky right now, like Inara sucks, Term sucks, Barrack has always been a little bit funky, and he is technically fine, but he just has a low HP bar, so it's hard for him to dive. Nando is good, but falls off a little bit late game, not as hard as you think, but he still falls off. So that means that the other team can often just force the main tank off point, or flat out kill them. Their stats are low, so they do their job poorly. The other thing is that forcing point just isn't super valuable right now. Off tanks and aggro supports are super strong, and there is a ton of good DPS available. Your team might just be dead by the time objective pressure becomes relevant. You also don't even need bulk to pressure points, since nothing's looking at you most games. You just get to sit there for free. And if the other team tries to get you out, off tanks being strong and having mobility means that you survive better than main tanks. So why pick something bulky and understated when you can pick something strong that can participate in the fight? Traditional main tanks force the objective first, then pinch when they can. This new style of main tank, let's call them pseudo main tanks, they pinch first and pressure the objective when they can. This seems small, but it fundamentally changes everything about how everyone plays the game, because now your win conditions are different. Now, no one is on a timer, we're playing for kills. So instead of the objective being the driving force for each team's win conditions, it turns into a more TDME, map control, angles, cooldown sort of thing. This stuff was obviously crucial before, but now it's the main focus in every game. The only tank that can really pull off the traditional main tank well is Nando, and you can draft Barrack into that if you want to opt into the traditional main tank duel, but why would you? Let's just draft the good off tanks and pseudo main tanks and just kill stuff, because that's better right now. Good pseudo main tanks include Rom, Khan, Zahn, Nando, and maybe Ashe and Koa. This probably won't have much of an impact in Ranked. Ranked tends to be a few years behind what's actually good, and I fully support putting your bottom picks on Nando, Barrack, and Io sort of characters, because that's easy. But that's not what's meta or even viable right now. So yeah, traditional main tanks are basically dead. Kinda sucks to see, but I do think this meta is extremely interesting despite being extremely unfun to play sometimes. It's also still in its early stages. I'd love to have more shots at this sort of thing. I think there's another tournament in like a month, so we'll see. And who knows what the patch notes will bring. Maybe 50% DR Inara will come back, or hell will freeze over. So yeah, that's it for main tanks. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.